Hello. So my first video is going to be a fun one. This is something I created with Claude Code for my own personal use because for the longest time, I was hoping my bank would provide me with proper portfolio tracking for my portfolio, which is not exactly traditional. I have a finance background, but I have too many stocks and ETFs in my portfolio, contrary to usual financial advice to keep it short and sweet. I have around 46 holdings, as you can see here. This is not the actual value of my portfolio. These are just dummy numbers. But just to make sure everything is working in terms of tracking my own portfolio, and then I'll switch the data. But right now, I just wanted to start it with a minimum viable product. As we say in product management, we always start with the most basic use case, which in this case is I want to take my Google Finance portfolio, where I currently track, and augment it with recommendations and active investment advice and nudges, and really like activating my financial performance and boosting it. So this is all to make money. And I find the tools I have right now are not really like adding insights or strategy actions, which is what I'm looking for. So I did this in Claude Code. I've been playing around with Claude Code for about a month now. I started with making two websites, which I can do a quick review of in a different video, but I was really impressed in a very short period of time of a weekend when I dived into it with what it can do. And I said to myself, after all the productive ways I can use this for my day jobs, I now want to do this for my own personal financial advancement because I do check my portfolios every day and I do try to make decisions on the go. And I want to be able to do that quickly with AI. And I'm truly, honestly impressed. I started this project yesterday at 6 p.m. and I finished it this morning in its current state around 10 a.m. So I watched reality TV, I cooked, I did a ton of other things in between. And at the same time, I built this portfolio tracker in a way that is going to serve me to make decisions. So I did this with Claude Code, and I'm going to share with you kind of how I did it. If you've never used Claude Code before, I'm going to assume here that you have like installed it at least. And I will be using Visual Studio Code as a way to interface with Claude Code. You can use anti-gravity and other tools. I like Visual Studio Code. I happened to watch a tutorial with it, and I haven't had a reason to change. In order to get going, I need to create a project in Visual Studio Code that is going to be using Claude Code. And for that, I ideally need to create a folder on my desktop, for example. I created one called Portfolio Management, and I only started with one file. These are all files that Claude Code has added as we created the portfolio. I just started with my portfolio holdings as of yesterday. And like you see, at 6:17 p.m., like I said, I started around then. Okay, so let's open this folder just so we can start. Desktop. And now all the files that we were seeing on our desktop folder are here on the left side. You can click on this Explorer to see what the files are. And this is like, basically, if I click here, if I've installed Claude Code, if you haven't, I can link to other videos that show you how to do it. And here we go. This is a window where you can start your conversation with Claude Code. I already have done it all here for the whole thing. Okay, so let's see. So this is our Claude Code chat. I started with one prompt here, keeping it simple. I transcribed the prompts in my notes here just to make it easier for you. So these are my transcribed prompts for Claude Code. I usually would do one prompt, see what I get, and go on from there. So I started with the prompt of, hey, can you scrape my holdings basically in my Google Finance portfolio? And it couldn't really do that on the regular. And so I asked it, what is better if I want this updated regularly? I don't want it to be manual. So it told me what to do, and I said, okay, use this particular file where all my current holdings are copy pasted in the following order for each ticker. It's an ugly file. We'll open it and see it. but Claude Code knew what to do and how to parse it and scrape it. So right here, we can see the file, my portfolio holdings that I just copy pasted with a horrible Google finance format, but I know what each column, like each row is for each one of them. So I told Google Claude Code. So I told Claude Code to basically focus on that and parse it. And it figured it out. It created a database from there. And in fact, I could create a database in Supabase. I already have a Supabase account that I'm using for my websites. So I actually can set up a database here. My account was just frozen because I wasn't using it. So it's restoring it. But essentially, Supabase is a place where you can, for free up to a certain point, create a database for your website or for your app in this case. And so I could actually put all my holdings in Supabase and link it that way instead of having it in that Excel file on my computer. Now, back to here, one important thing in the notes to notice is that I basically have to highlight this one. Ask me clarifying questions until you are 95% confident you know what to implement. This is really important. So once you give it like very high level instructions, you can see here, I gave it basically my holdings. It looked at them, it cleaned them up, it said, okay, these are your holdings and these don't have any positions in them. Is this a watch list? And I said, yep, they're watch list. Also add to the watch list these other companies and create a file from that. Then I asked it to do something that I have been waiting to do for a while, and that was like using someone else's GitHub or personal investment tracker format. So I asked it to apply it. There is GitHub, this particular tracker that someone shared with me. You would come to code and then copy this HTTPS URL, and you would put it in Claude Code and tell it what that you wanted to apply to your investment tracker. Now, I did do that and I didn't like the results. The formatting was way worse than the Claude Code formatting. So I was not into it. I said, hey, revert it. I don't want it. So I don't like it, get rid of it. And everything that you installed because of it. Now that one had Flask, which means that it was more like its own app. And that's something I might do down the line, but right now I just want to have this on my local machine. So I feel like for now I'm good. Now, one cool thing when you're building any kind of app is you can go to dribbble.com. This is for design. Like I know that I want my portfolio, like it just simplifies it and makes it so much better. Especially if you find a design you like, which is what I did, and I'll show you how to do that. So we're on Dribbble right now, and we're going to search for investment tracker. Let's see what we get. Beautiful. We get a whole bunch of different ones. I really like this one, for example. So I'm going to click on it, and I can screenshot this. If there's anything else, more information, you can screenshot that too, and you can drop it in Claude Code right here directly, just like that screenshot. I dropped it in the portfolio management side here, the folder with all the files, and then I referenced it in my prompt. So to reference an existing asset, you can just do at, and I said screenshot. Screenshot is right here. You can rename it also to something better than screenshot, but it doesn't matter what you call it, as long as you reference the right name, you're going to get it to be used in the build of the website. So that's what I said. I was like, use this screenshot and we can see what it looks like when we click on it right here. You see, like this is kind of the vibe of my website from a design perspective. So that's what I asked. And this is where I found it. Took me 2 seconds. And now I said, okay, use the screenshot to create a portfolio dashboard, breakdowns of stocks, ETFs, crypto, other, also sectors, breakdown, and all individual stocks below shown with current price and last 1 day, 30-day, and 3 months relative performance. Ask me clarifying questions until you're 95% confident you know what to implement. And these are the answers to the questions. Then I asked a few more things, make the tickers clickable. So that means if I go here and I pick any of the stocks, or even in these like alerts, the watch list, the top 5, bottom 5, I can click on it and it's going to open the Yahoo Finance page for that particular stock or ETF. Great. Now, a few other things I asked it. Let's take a look at the notes here. I checked versus my Google Finance. Very important, whatever app you build, is that you double check information. You can have a database. So for example, if you're building an app, it's tracking something, you can have like, you can track alongside it. That way you can see day by day if it's making sense. Like I want to build a health tracker next. I think after building this so quickly, I'm so impressed that I can make my own health tracker that I can like report on every day, that pulls calories, that pulls, results, how much time I spend at the gym. I want to do that. So basically, for me to do that in a way and double check that the data is correct over time is I'm going to have to probably, for at least a month, keep like a double tracker, something in Excel or Sheets, and then also in the app to make sure it's correct. And maybe have my database in Supabase exactly that way, potentially. But I need to, verify my results against something. That's very important when you're building any kind of data related. So now I said, okay, change certain things, remove things, update it every 30 minutes for price information, remove other from portfolio, remove this column, and then I'm gonna get into free stock screeners. I do want to see eventually like how I can do stock screening done by the AI in the background. So a bunch of agents run stock screening formulas or they run stock screening operations. I need to see how I'm going to get the data. That's the next step. So always starting a project in its lowest possible like value delivery or functionality delivery. Okay, it's doing what I needed to do. It's giving me some wisdom, some strategy. It's being proactive. Now I want to make it next level proactive. I want to add agents to it. I added top, bottom, bottom five, top five, please. And then I asked it to summarize my prompts here for these notes so they're cleaner than in Claude Code. But nevertheless, you will, if you are now depending, um, if you are in Visual Studio Code, I'm in ask before edits mode. But if you're just starting, you should be in plan mode. And this is where it's going to be asking you questions, just like I said, to get that 95% confidence, because then it's going to build you something so much faster and better instead of going back over and over again. So if you're just starting and you're, depending on the project you're building, I think it depends. It's always a good idea to start with plan mode. Either way, you will need to provide permissions for each of them, but ask before edits is important. But at the same time, if you trust it, you can go to edit automatically. So it depends on what I'm doing. I select different modes, but if you're just starting, really start with the plan mode. Okay, so this is what it took to create this app. I'm going to keep iterating on it. One thing to keep in mind with Claude Code is that after a while, if the window gets too long, you start kind of losing memory basically. If you've talked to someone for 4 hours now, after hour three, you're probably like, okay, this presentation has been too long. I can't remember what we talked about in the beginning. That's kind of what happens here too. So it's good to start a new window right here. I haven't one that I could continue from here. The other good thing is that you can also ask it to basically commit to MD memory file. And the memory file is like where all the important information about this project is put. So essentially you can add to it manually or you can ask Claude to add to it. And the file is here, readme.md. Right now it's very basic, but we can, as I said, ask to add to it. So this script can attempt to scrape a Google Finance portfolio page, fetch Yahoo Finance data for each ticker, supplement positions with sector, industry price, and you can add to this here if you want to. Install dependencies, etc. So right now it's going to update it as needed with any new information. If you want to commit to something to the project level globally, you can ask Claude Code to do that as well. And one cool thing is to also know that there are always potentially skills out there that can help you. Skills are like preset, basically job descriptions or workflow descriptions or just enriched information for context that Claude Code will get quickly. and you don't have to do manually over time. So if there's a skill, for example, the front end design skill, I'll look it up, front end design skill Claude Code. I recommend having this installed for pretty much anything that has an application view because it basically gives you a really amazing, like modern, beautiful, clean design type that you might not get otherwise. But also using Dribbble will help you change the vibe of the website or make it different and really start somewhere very high grade from a design perspective. That was going to make your app look that much more professional. So if this has been useful, please like, comment, reshare, subscribe. I love doing these kinds of like 24-hour almost dopamine apps. I think they're great. Look at all the great information I'm getting here on my watch list, like price action and strong trend. So these are the kind of stocks I like to buy. This is a good time to probably buy Claude, to buy a few of these stocks that I'm watching, Rigetti, because they're down, but they're long term on a up and up. I have alerts here to like rebalance or make changes to my portfolio, which I didn't have before. Basically, it's already like helping me make decisions. And by the end of the week, I'll definitely be taking action on some of these and simplifying my portfolio, I think. So pretty happy with this like less than 24-hour turnaround on a financial tracker. And I'm going to keep building on it and see what else Claude Code can do for me. Thank you for staying with me, and hopefully this was useful.